Hello and welcome back to the Data Privacy Lawyer. My name is Funmi Owolabi. I'm the principal attorney. Today's review, we're going to be looking at cookie notice for this organization. Wow, this is a really nice logo. Let's take a look at the settings. So we've got the preference center because we know that cookies constitute personal data. So we've got strictly necessary, performance, functional, and marketing. So my expectation as we review the notice is that we're going to see these detailed in terms of the cookies that is used by this organization. So they've all been turned off. I'm going to confirm my choices. Let's go to the cookie notice. This notice sets out when personal information we collect from you using our platform. Just going to click this again. So it seems like this organization has a privacy notice only, not one that's specific to cookies. Okay. Oh, here we go. Good. I found it. So they do have a cookie notice. Our online platform and mobile app. So this is really important. We've done lots of cookie reviews on this channel. Generally, they have always been for websites, but we can see here that this includes the mobile application. Now, why did I highlight this? Scope really matters when you are presenting your cookie notice. You need to be able to understand what's happening on your online platform and how that process flow may be different with the mobile application. And maybe in the future, I'm going to start doing reviews when we are reviewing privacy notices and cookie notices associated with mobile applications, because how they process personal data sometimes is different how the website processes personal data with respect to cookies and then other personal data identifiers. What I want to talk about is the fact that this one both applies to the online platform and the mobile application. One of the questions I generally ask clients to provide me is, can you provide me insight into where you offer your products and services, particularly if they are a tech organization? Some businesses, the services that they provide, let's say face-to-face. Some organizations, the products they provide is like a tangible, like something that they deliver to your house. Every organization processes personal data in some capacity, but the manner and the process flow associated with an online platform may be different to a mobile application. So looking at scope is really important. I don't want to spend too much time on that because we've talked about identifiers associated with an online platform, but I'm very intrigued about what this organization does with respect to their mobile application. I also generally will ask clients to provide me either screenshots of how the mobile application works from the minute that the app is downloaded, or I will ask them to provide me insights into a video detailing what the user experience is, because that also influences what types of information is placed into the cookie notice and the privacy notice. Okay, so they've provided a definition, which is good. I am a very big proponent of definitions in both your privacy notice and with your cookie notice, because the audience of people who are purchasing your products and services, they generally don't understand the nuances in the privacy legislation, so they need a bit of hand holding, which is really important. If your product is directed at children, your notices should reflect that a child is going to read them. If your notices are for individuals who are purchasing lights, your notice needs to detail a notice that people with lights might want to read. They're not privacy lawyers, you're consumers, and your notices should be for your consumers, because we saw the scope here. Online platform. What type of individuals are going to access your online platform? That's a consideration you need to make before you draft your notices. Let's look at why we use cookies: authentication, status, personalization, advertising, analysis, accuracy. Okay, that's good. Cookies used by our service providers. Okay, and then you can manage your cookies here. So one thing that I think is really valuable, and I've made comments before about the need for there to be a relationship between this privacy preference center and the information that is provided on your notice. Let me add a differing opinion. I really like this cookie notice because I think the language is simple enough for the audience. Sometimes I think organizations use very legalese information that is very confusing and not useful for the audience. I think that this organization has taken a really good step forward in really identifying who their users are and what they would understand. And the language is simple enough for anybody to read. We use cookies to identify you when you visit our online platform and as you navigate our online platform. Although the uses for the cookies and the purposes are a bit different to what's displayed in the preference center, such as functional, marketing, you need to be able to explain as a business what constitutes marketing. You need to explain it in simple enough language that your audience and those in scope hope are going to be able to understand. Now, even without me understanding explicitly what the online platform provides and what the mobile app provides, I know for a fact that if somebody like my mother was to visit this website, she would be able to understand what authentication means based on this definition. She would also be able to understand what personalization means because it uses very simple words. So I really like this notice. The only thing I would add is maybe a date for when this was last updated, but it's clear that cookies are taken into consideration by this organization given their preference center, and the fact that each of their buttons are the same color, that's really important too. And I also think it's valuable to note, and I've talked about this in other cookie reviews, that none of these cookies had been turned on in spite of the fact that I'm a US resident. I've talked a lot about opt-in and opt-out in the past, but essentially in some geographies, businesses are required to allow consumers to opt in to cookies, and in some geographies, the responsibility on the organization is to provide opt-out opportunities. And the obligation that this business has to me as a consumer of this website is the opportunity to opt out, but it appears as though they've taken a global approach in that they've looked at the most restrictive requirements they have under the data protection laws, and they've allowed all of their consumers to be opted out as they interact with the site, giving them the preference to opt in. And now I've opted in, if I say confirm my choice, performance cookies are going to be associated with my interaction with the site. So I really hope you enjoyed this particular review. If you have any comments or questions, let me know in the comments below and I'll see you in another review.